Welcome to Rainbow Popcorn, where 2 out of 3 brothers review queer cinema and camp classics. Brought to you by pride of our Footscray and Superbia Cocktail Bar, the most inclusive venues in Melbourne. Head in for the drinks and the drag, stay for the party, and find yourself at pride of our Footscray. Hello, Brett.
Hello, Lee.
How are you?
I am good.
Good. I like that T-shirt.
Thank you.
This is not a particularly queer T-shirt that I'm wearing of
No.
Dr. Emmett Brown, but I felt like wearing something Back to the Future.
I was going to say, was he straight? But he did marry Mary Steenburgen.
He did
so
marry a woman. Although it was the 1880s, there was only one option.
Yeah.
Two,
Oh,
probably.
well,
He could have just stayed the single mad scientist.
Yeah. Which people would just be like, he's not gay, he's just insane.
We're not talking about Back to the Future, though, unfortunately.
No.
We are talking about Holding the Man, Australian movie from 2015, based on a play, which was based on a book, which was based on a real man's life.
Yep.
So, based on a true story.
That's the summary of that.
Okay. What do we got to drink to celebrate this?
Much like a story the guy wrote, this is completely off the top of my head. Actually, no, because it's based on true events. It has a few things I grabbed off the shelf in it.
Okay.
Peach schnapps.
Yep.
Passion fruit thing.
Because there is passion in the movie.
Orange juice. Orange curacao.
Okay.
And Southern Comfort. It's in the south of Australia.
Melbourne.
Orange juice. Passion. Peach. Bum.
And it ends in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Valencia oranges.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's orange juice.
Yeah, it needs less orange juice.
Yeah. I can definitely taste the orange curacao, though.
I reckon if it was just like a normal kind of half thing, you know what I mean? Like a smaller glass,
Yeah.
that'd be all right. I'll try that with different ratios.
In the future. So our Rainbow Popcorn movies this month, we are
pretty good.
doing Holding the Man by 2015 in Australia. I've said all that already.
Yep.
And we rate these on the Pride scale, rating their presentation, their representation, their iconicness, their dialogue, and overall.
Yes.
And then we also will talk about the fact that I cried.
I have to say something before we start, Lee.
Okay.
I've been using Letterboxd this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to track all the movies I've watched.
Oh, good call.
I have an ongoing project to backtrack all the movies I've ever watched because I want to know how movies I've ever watched in my lifetime.
Yep.
No idea how close I am to the end, but I'm up to about 860.
Oh, dear.
This...
There'll be some that you've forgotten.
Yeah. Maybe for the right reasons. This movie is the 100th movie I've watched this year.
Oh. I was hoping for the applause.
Yeah, I thought so. That's why I did the applause
didn't get
anyway.
Third time lucky.
Lee, that's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of movies.
Yep.
So 2015, Holding the Man, romance drama, based on the story of Timothy Conigrave.
Yes.
But written for the screen by Tommy Murphy and directed by Neil Armfield and distributed by Netflix.
Yep.
But now it's on Stan in Australia.
It is on Stan.
Other than the two leads, it's quite an Australian cast.
Very Australian cast.
Guy Pearce, Anthony LaPaglia, Jeffrey Rush, Sarah Snook, Camilla Akin has been in a lot of stuff. You would have seen Kerry Fox in things.
Did you say Anthony LaPaglia?
Yep.
And Jeffrey Rush?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said all of them.
Great.
And
what about Paul Goddard? Anyway, Ryan Corr's doing all right for himself these days as well.
He's done quite a bit since then. Craig Stott has not, though.
He was in House of the Dragon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in it for about 2 episodes and then they killed him.
That's still not a bad run.
I mean, you're in the biggest show in the world.
But also,
so
like,
I'd take it.
To make it through 2 episodes of a Game of Thrones anything
is
all right.
Yeah.
You made it through more episodes than Sean Bean. Or
No.
as many?
No, Sean Bean had more.
Oh, well, he died. Spoiler.
Spoiler. It's fucking from 12 years ago.
We also you spoiled the other week that there's incest in it when we talked about Gladiator.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so presentation. Were they softening their Australian accents? That's what I thought at first. But then I was
There
like...
were times where Ryan Corr sounded a bit more English.
But then I was like, is that just a bit of his
Theatrical
affectation?
Yeah, whereas sometimes it's like... But then sometimes it didn't work. When it's like, I think I went too soon when I put my hand down your dacks. Like, it didn't work. You need to say that with an Aussie accent.
Yes. Put my hand down your dacks.
Put my hand down your dacks.
Very Australian,
Yeah.
that though.
I don't think he was. I think he might have been, actually.
I think he was a bit.
Character choice.
I certainly think for John, it was a little bit softened. I feel like John as a character, footy boy kind of character, would have had a stronger accent than he did in the movie.
Yeah.
I liked, though, that they had the same actors play them young and old.
Yeah, because there is a big gap, like, what is it, 15 years?
15 years, yeah. And while they don't necessarily look young in 1976...
No.
I think that's good to have them going straight through. But obviously, that coming from the play that would have been the thing. And in a play, you're not necessarily looking closely at someone like you are in the movie.
No.
So it's just by the setting of the time, just by them being at high school. In the play, you wouldn't look at them for their age. You just go, they're in high school, they're a character.
Yeah.
And so I guess we're expected, and we do the same thing watching the movie when it's them, because they're at Xavier College.
Yes.
In Leafy Q.
Yeah, very leafy.
1976 is an interesting time, is all I wrote, and I refuse to expand on that any further.
It was an interesting time. Skyhooks came out with their song, How's That? No, that was Sherbet.
That was Sherbet. How's that? 76. That's not why I wrote that note, though.
Okay.
I don't know why I wrote 1976 is an interesting time.
Were you expecting a bit more it's in the 80s because of AIDS?
No.
Okay.
I honestly don't know why I wrote 1976 is an interesting time.
Is it because then they'd be the same age as our parents? Was that why?
But then I wrote down, he's holding the man, sir.
Yeah. Didn't like that.
It's the movie.
That's what I said. Quest for Peace.
Considering the name, though, I thought there would be more footy in it.
I thought there'd be man holding. It was a fair bit of man holding.
There was some kind of man holding.
Anyway.
No, I expected footy to be a bigger thing of it. I expected, not knowing about it, but I expected him to be like, as well as not coming out because of his Italian family, maybe not coming out because he's playing footy.
Yes.
Like
But
naming
he
it
stopped
holding...
playing footy.
He just finished year 12 and didn't play footy.
Yeah, well, it's too short.
What do you mean?
He was too short to pursue AFL.
Oh, not in the 70s.
Yeah.
Different time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But, well, I just thought naming it holding the man,
Yeah.
I would have expected football to have played a role in the film
It did.
for a minute.
That's how they meet.
It's
Because
not
he broke his leg. And he's like, who the fuck are you?
Right, they could have met in geography class.
They did. Or did they? I'm still...
They didn't.
Anyway, they didn't.
No, but anyway, I don't know if that should go in presentation or entirety.
Okay.
Maybe I went too soon with that one.
Yeah, you might have.
But there is that contrast of footy to theatre at the very start.
Yeah.
Not the very, very start. When they're getting dressed, they're both essentially putting on costumes and performing a role
Yeah.
as the footy boy.
Well, you
and
can like footy.
Not Romeo.
Yeah. The other one.
Paris.
Right.
Orlando Bloom. Oh, wrong movie.
Oh, yeah, no. You know what I didn't like?
The same thing I wrote in my notes.
About his hair?
The mullet.
Yeah, it's so obviously a wig. It's really bad. Ryan Cors isn't
No.
as bad as... I can't even... What's the guy's name? I feel
John.
bad.
It's Craig Scott. Stott.
Craig Stott.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, not great.
No, but I was going to say low budget, but it's Netflix.
It's not Netflix.
It was distributed by Netflix.
Oh.
Doesn't it mean that was made? It was made by Netflix?
No. I don't know. It was distributed by Transmission Films. What are you reading?
Google.
Its budget was $170,000.
Okay. Production company Goalpost Pictures.
Footy.
Box office 909,000.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Goalpost Pictures is an Australian film production company founded and run by Rosemary Blight, Ben Grant, Khalid Fraser. Who cares? Okay, so it looks very good though, other than the mullet.
It looks very Australian.
Yeah, but not low budget Australian. Like
No.
it looks well shot and with a proper camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some Australian
it's
films.
It's not a uni project.
No, but some lower budget Australian films.
Yeah.
Like you could put that visually up against a Hollywood film
Yeah, true.
and it looks good. The mullet would just
Yeah.
be better.
I think that they use their change of clothes and hairstyles and stuff well to be like, hey, it's the late 70s now.
Yeah. They're a little bit older now.
Yeah, they've had
And
a
he's got a
haircut.
little paunch at one point, John. When he's obviously stopped playing footy, he's not ripped anymore.
Yeah. Or was that just to be like, make more of a difference?
Well, but that shot at Christmas, speaking of the difference, that's a really good shot when they do have the Christmas presents, the last Christmas before he passes away, of just how skinny he had become.
Yeah.
That close up, they did
The
that
side
really,
on.
Yeah, the side
Yeah.
on close up. They did do that really well, and then the long lingering shot, which is exactly how I imagine it would be on the stage in the play when he dies.
Oh, and also when he's breathing and he's like in the bed and then Ryan calls over here and then the mum's sitting there and she's like, shut up.
Yeah.
That's very much a play.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think they did some stuff of that, which was good. And then the lingering as he slowly passes
Yeah.
is hard to watch.
Yes. I have a question. He has brothers.
5 of them.
5?
At least 4.
Okay. We only see 2 of them at the funeral or something? Do we see them at any point before that?
At the dinner table. When Tim first goes
Yeah,
there
okay.
for dinner and
Yeah.
Anthony LaPaglia says, he's changed. Thanks for that.
Yeah, but then fuck off.
Yeah, you changed
Yeah.
him too much.
Yeah.
We were okay with him coming out of his shell, not okay with him coming out.
Yeah.
So fuck off, you puffed up. Basically.
Anthony LaPaglia is good in this.
He is.
He's playing an asshole, but yeah. He's
He is
good.
very good.
It's subtle. It's not subtle in terms of like what he's saying and doing, but its acting is subtle.
You can tell that he is still torn.
Yeah.
That it's not just, you're gay, get the fuck out. It's, you're gay, I don't like it, but you're my son and I love you, but you're gay and I don't like
But
it.
get out. I want the
But
car.
get out, but I love you, but get out.
Yeah.
All of that conflict is still there, but he's still playing the asshole very well.
Yeah. Not sure if that falls under presentation, but hey.
Guy Pearce does that pretty well too. The conflicted father kind of thing. He's not as far conflicted. Like he's
Fucking flicked.
He's not just far.
He's
far
fucking
quad.
flicked.
He's not as much of a far quad.
He's pretty flicked.
It's not as extreme, I don't think, as Anthony LaPaglia's, but he has the nuance of the conflicted family also.
Yeah.
So, anything else for presentation?
Not really. Like you said, it's shot well. It looks very Australian, and I think that it's good that they didn't try to make where they were look not just like a Melbourne suburb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they didn't go, oh, let's put it in the city, or this is just a normal Aussie house that they're in with the fold-out bed.
Oh, they wanted to make it like the suburbs.
Yeah, it's just a normal Aussie suburb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not normal, it's Q. But, yeah.
Yeah. And it does represent, I think, Australian suburbia well.
It must be further out than Q, though, because they're, like, on the river. That bit confused me when they're all, like, going fishing, but then they go back to the house. I'm like, are they away for the weekend? I was a bit confused.
No, they were going to that guy's cabin.
Yeah, that's where I got a bit confused.
Not in Q.
Yeah.
And then the friends are all totally fine with it.
Yeah. But they're not, but they are.
They are.
But they are his which friends were they?
Tim's friends.
Yeah, that's why they're fine
But
with
not
it.
his theatre's friends.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Anyway, what are you going to give it for presentation?
Like a 3.5?
I'm going to give it a 4. I think it looks great.
Yeah. 3.75.
Oh,
Yeah.
note that down. I am. That's my job.
Can you please note that down?
But also note down that Brett used a 0.75.
3.82.
An historical moment. That's you get a 3.82 when you convert bloody Roger Ebert's into out of 5s.
Yeah, that's true. So the R is for representation.
Representation.
Yeah.
So, it's not... I don't know where I started to write notes about it.
I think...
It covers a lot in terms of gay stories. It hits a lot of common themes and common occurrences, which if it wasn't a true story, then you would go, well, there's not going to be that and that and that and that.
Yeah.
But it is a true story, so you have to believe him.
Yeah, I think that it does that well. I think it's very Aussie.
Yes.
So that represents more the Australian side of it. So far, the guy comes out and goes, 2 houses of Verona, each of equal standing, or whatever the bloody start of it is.
How shit's the drama teacher at the school, though? When
Yeah, he's been in other stuff.
But
he's in half this movie was in Blue Heelers at one point.
But he's just like, no, do it again, be sadder. Like, that's not good direction.
Yeah.
Especially for a kid.
Yeah.
But that's not to do with representation.
But it's good school, like they're playing footy, all the teachers are calling him, all the kids call the teachers sir.
Sir, yeah.
Which is very Australian.
Not these days. Or at the public schools, they just call you mister.
Yeah. The representation thing, because you were saying it is a true story. I feel that if this wasn't a true story, they would have made much more of like, oh, we can't be seen together.
Yeah.
At the start.
Yeah.
But the movement from him, who are you in the hospital?
Yeah.
To we're going out now. Very quick.
Yeah. It probably wasn't quick in the real time.
Good wing woman, Sarah Snook.
Oh, yeah. She's all about it. But it's not obvious. Like, one thing that I thought was kind of good at the start is that it's not obvious if anybody at school knows Tim's gay. Sarah Snook knows.
Sarah Snook knows.
The audience knows, obviously, because it's a movie about 2 men falling in love.
Yeah.
So we assume. But it's shown to the audience as well.
Yeah.
But it's not known, and so we don't know if John knows. And so then we have to kind of be like, oh, is John, does John know? Is John going to be okay with talking to Tim? What does John think of his own gayness?
Yep.
But then it does go to friends and then to boyfriends, even though it's secret boyfriends, pretty quickly. He does say, I like you, very soon after becoming friends, and very boldly.
Yeah. Shoving his
I
hand
like
down his
you.
dacks. Yeah.
I like you too. Are we boyfriends now? Yep.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. It's just very, yep.
Which, could be a bit of how high school works.
Yeah.
But there was no bit of like, well, before I say I like you, I've got to confirm that this boy's not straight,
Yeah.
which is risky.
Yes.
The letter, very risky.
Uh-huh.
And you knew straight away that someone was going to find it.
Yeah, and everything got found out at the same time.
That did. But before that, I liked that this telling is not like they were isolated either before they're coming out. Like they weren't withdrawn from stuff because they were in the closet.
Yep.
That's a very common thing in queer movies. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't there.
Yep.
But we got enough, I think, of the build-up to kind of tick that box of what I get is a fairly universal experience of not knowing if your feelings for someone are requited or if your feelings for someone are on the right track.
Yeah.
You like someone, but you don't even know if they're straight or not.
Yeah. So we'll go to dinner at my friend's place and she'll force us all to kiss.
Yeah.
And then I'll know.
And then we'll find out. But then he didn't know because he didn't kiss even back.
No.
Really. It wasn't a confirmation.
It was weird.
So then, yes, everyone does find out. The school finds out, then they go on their trip, the friends find out, and the dad finds the letter, and then the dad tells the other dad.
Yeah.
So that happens. So the story isn't about two kids in the 60s coming out. The story is their whole life love story, which is good.
Yeah.
I liked that. It covered the whole kind of thing. Very interesting that the Jesuits are okay with it. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Maybe they're in year 12. They'll be done soon. Let them go.
I did like that the friends...
They're too old for us. Let's just let them be.
I like that the friends accepted it.
Yeah.
One of them took a little bit longer, but it's fine. I did think it was set up well, though, that the guys had this kind of banter stuff going on about dating each other and being pregnant to each other.
Yeah.
And usually that kind of banter could be set up to be like, well, we don't like, we've had all this banter, which now makes you actually being gay really awkward and we hate it.
Yes. Yeah, but it's just like, hey, we're fun. And I feel like the main friend...
Yeah.
Whichever one it was all... So, like, when they walked in on them together...
Doing it.
He was just like, we thought so.
Yeah. You can't all of a sudden just be hanging out with a footy guy all the time.
That's why it was just like, we should go streak.
Yeah.
Or skinny. We should go skinny dipping, and that will then show that I'm fine with it. In that, I feel like that was his kind of thinking, the friend.
Yeah, and I reckon that is people would have that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Should be like, and particularly a boy in the 60s, 70s wouldn't have been like, I just want you to know that I am okay with you being gay and we are still friends like we have always been friends. Yeah. You're not going to say that. So he's just like, streaking, and hope that Tim gets it.
Yeah.
Which he does. So, yeah, and then it ticks more boxes. It's very common that dads are not okay with it, but mums kind of are.
Well, like she said on his deathbed, he was my favourite.
Yeah.
And then John's brothers were watching the movie and were like, bitch, I
Yeah,
knew it.
Fuck you.
I knew it.
Fuck you. And then the AIDS comes. But then that also comes with that first interview, and there's all those assumptions of, everyone's promiscuous in the queer community is an assumption that's put in there. There's bits of, the gay scene, progressive queers having to fight for things. And then there's the clash of him trying to be that progressive queer guy, but he's actually accidentally just fallen in love with one guy.
Yeah.
And so that's a battle within him.
He wants to go, experience the scene.
Well, I think he even says we should be experiencing, which I think even, these days is a thing that a lot of people are faced with, that conflict.
Yeah.
Of we should be doing these things, but, I'm also in love with this guy.
Yeah.
And then that's the big conflict of the whole film, because really that also is what leads to their infections, realistically.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, if they weren't doing the promiscuous thing.
But was it from the blood donation?
He gave blood.
Didn't he receive blood?
Oh, was it? Oh, maybe I got that confused.
Because he said everybody else
is negative. So if they'd received... Oh.
No, didn't he say the person who donated blood has now been found out to be HIV positive?
We've talked to everyone else and they're negative, but you're positive.
Well, you should get tested because this letter was old anyway.
The letter said, but by the time the phone call, he'd already been tested and he was positive.
Yeah. So then she was like, you might have got it from this. That was my understanding of the scene.
Oh, that's probably
then
true.
Then for a little bit of the movie,
that makes
because
more
it
sense.
was like that letter came and then he was being a bit promiscuous and stuff. It was almost like a mystery to solve where he got AIDS.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like this.
But that could also have been, it is a bit of a mystery.
Well, yeah.
But then
But then does it matter?
No.
Yeah.
But one of the things for his character was whether or not he gave it to John.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're right about the blood donation. He received blood that was positive, but he was the only one infected.
Yeah, well, I don't know when he got...
Of all the people they called. I don't remember a scene in the movie where he got a transfusion.
Yeah, anyway. Or why I would need one. It never came up. Anyway.
No, my reading of the scene was you donated blood and we've contacted everyone else, but then, you're right.
Because then he said to her, oh, no, don't worry, I know that I'm positive.
Yeah, I don't need to get tested.
Yeah. It's like, no, everybody else has been... This was from 1981 or something. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to look it up.
We're going to talk about this for 15 minutes.
All right, we'll talk about something else then. What will you give it out of 5 for representation? Or is there anything you haven't...
It's very white.
Yes.
Which I think late 70s suburban Melbourne, very white. But then as the movie goes on and they go to uni, it's still very white.
Yeah.
And there's like one lesbian.
Yeah.
There's almost only one lesbian. What's with that?
I assume that group that was in that bar fight had more than one lesbian in it.
I can't remember. No, there was only one talking lesbian. Only one lesbian had a line. Because she says, I'm a dyke. Yeah, which is hilarious.
I've found out the blood. Am I going to say it?
I was right?
Okay. No, I was right.
Oh, what?
In 1988...
That doesn't make any sense.
In 1988, while in Melbourne for his sister's wedding, Tim is contacted by the Red Cross and is told that the blood he donated in 1981 was pooled with blood from other donors and was given to a patient who has gone on to develop AIDS.
Oh, that
and
does
that
make
he
sense.
is the only donor to be contacted who tested positive to HIV.
So they say because it was pooled with other people,
We had to call
you
everyone.
might be the one.
We had to call everyone of the
Yeah.
pool, and you were the one that gave this guy the HIV.
FYI, this happened 7 years ago. You could have you could have had it for this long.
Yes.
Okay. Fine.
But then
They cry making vol au vents in the kitchen.
But they also had that conversation where John says, I gave it to you because the doctor said you were exposed recently.
I don't understand.
Yeah, so I think that it was a bit of trying to make it a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, which I didn't like.
So yes, very white the whole way through.
Yeah.
I do think the 60s and 70s suburbs of Melbourne, I don't think were as white as this movie has them be.
They had to put Italians in there.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of queer representation, though, I think it's a good queer story that represents a lot of common things that happen to gay people
Yeah.
and represents them well.
I think it does.
I'm giving it a 3.82. No, 3.75.
I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Oh,
It's almost scored better than Stonewall already.
here we go.
Are you thinking
Yeah.
higher or lower?
I'm kind of thinking higher.
I took 0.25 off because of the colour. And
Yeah.
no lesbians.
I'll stick with a 3.5.
Okay, one of your favourites.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard 7 out of 10.
Iconicness. If it was made in Hollywood, it would be iconic.
I feel like it's fairly iconic.
It'd be up there with Philadelphia, I reckon, if it was made American.
And I think it'll become more iconic as more people discover it.
As in the few people listening to this episode.
Well, them and Americans.
Now that it's on Stan.
Yeah, because they've got Stan. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think that in a movie group that I'm in,
Yep.
people are like, I liked this, what you should watch. What should I watch? And a lot of people say this. So it's
Yeah,
like,
okay.
if you liked Call Me By Your Name, you should watch this.
Yeah. Or even, like, it has some parallels with Philadelphia
Yeah.
in terms of the HIV stuff, but also the different peoples and the acceptance stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It got nominated for a few actor awards.
which is the Australian Association of Cinema and Television Arts.
Yeah. It was nominated for Best Editing, Best Supporting Actor, Anthony LaPaglia.
Good.
Best Actor, Ryan Corr.
Mm.
Best Adapted Screenplay, Tommy Murphy. Best Direction, Neil Armfield. Best Film,
Good. What did it win?
none.
Oh. It's homophobic.
Exactly.
Um,
I'm going to see. I wonder what
did win?
won that year.
2015 actors.
Let's have a look in a quick way.
I'm gonna look
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh.
I was like, oh, it'd have to be a decent movie. Mad Max Fury Road, The Dressmaker, Holding the Man, Last Cab to Darwin, Paper Planes.
Oh, I've got to watch Paper
Like,
Planes.
they're all movies I've heard of. That's pretty good.
It's the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts.
Yeah. See, and then in 2013, the actor for best film was The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
They're not Australian movies.
Just because they're directed by Baz.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, directed by Baz. I think it is an Australian movie.
Moulin Rouge didn't win best film.
What did?
Lantana.
Lantana's very good.
Anyway, let's
Anthony
moving on.
LaPaglia is very good. Glenn Robbins plays a serious character in that and actually does a really good job.
Add it to the list. So I think it's iconic-ish.
Well, name 3 Australian queer movies.
This, Priscilla.
Yeah, so it's iconic. It's the second most well-known Australian queer movie.
Muriel's wedding. That's just camp.
It's just camp.
I'm actually struggling.
Yeah. So I think iconic.
Of an age.
Okay.
Done.
What's of an age?
It's from a couple of years ago. It's a similar kind of movie to this, except there's no AIDS.
The Sum of Us? No, this is not right. Australian LGBT movies. There's a movie called Riot. Picnic at Hanging Rock?
It's just a bunch of girls going to the bush.
No. The Snowtown Murders?
Dunno.
Emo the Musical?
That sounds terrible. Save all these for...
Brokeback Mountain? Oh, Heath Ledger.
Oh, he's Australian. It's not an Australian movie anyway.
Carol? Moonlight?
Oh, fuck off, people.
Boy Erased?
Oh, yes.
Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman?
Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman.
Referenced recently.
Troye Sivan's in that, I think.
It's a 2018 American biographical drama film based on Gerard Connolly's 2016 memoir of the same
All right,
name.
add it to the list.
All right.
Great. Iconicness,
I'm going to do 4.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Well, within the
Ask me again in 5 years.
within the Australian landscape.
Yep, and I feel like it has a very niche queer community iconicness. It's not mainstream.
I think heteros would like it though.
It's got footy in it.
Nah, breeders would like it.
Breeders, if there's any of you listening, tell us if you liked it.
All right, the D.
Oop.
Plenty of D in this movie,
Oop.
and that means dialogue.
I thought it meant deficiency.
Oh,
That's the D in AIDS.
ouch!
Is it?
It is.
Yeah.
That is harsh.
It's not what he meant when he said, give me the D.
I've worked harder to make you come.
Oh,
I should have worked harder to make you come. And then all the girls laugh. How do the boys not laugh?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose bloody John's never masturbated in his life. No, come on. It's a house of 5 boys.
It's like that Bridesmaids movie. I have 3 teenage, or how many teenage boys, and everything's just sticky or something. She says, like, I picked up a bed sheet and I swear I snapped it in half over my knee or something like that.
Maybe that's why, like, the mum and dad are, you're not allowed to do it. I'm not doing this amount of laundry.
Yeah.
The 1960s washing machine cannot handle it.
No. The old Simpson. It would have been a Simpson, I'm telling you.
No, but that's what he says later. He says something about...
He does, because he goes to the hospital.
And there was a snotty hanky in the pocket, and he said the bloody Simpson churned it up.
Yeah.
Like, product placement?
I mean, that still happens today with my whatever Chinese brand loud washing machine that I have. There was tissue in it the other day. It makes a mess.
Me. I've got to buy a new hose for the washing machine.
Okay, great.
So, dialogue. I should have worked harder to make you come, which is funny. But there are also serious lines. You've already mentioned when I reached into your Dax.
I liked that it was still very Australian. They didn't try to make it... Like, 'cause people would watch that and go, what the fuck is Dax?
Yeah.
Trucky Dax.
But then people may be able to use context in the fact that 15 seconds earlier he reached into his pants.
Yeah.
But then we've also got some lines in there that are serious but are fairly common.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce says you'll grow out of it, and Tim's mum says you're just going to live a sad and lonely life, which I think was a very common response of the time. So that
you'll never find love, bloody blah,
that
blah.
goes into the representation thing as well.
The one line I liked that I noticed, when they get caught by the teacher, Tim says, we love each other and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love each other and there's nothing you can do about it.
And then later on, when Anthony LaPaglia finds out,
oh, yeah.
John says, We love each other and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
Like,
But I
see,
also
he's coming around.
like how the priest says, "You're mumbling, Tim."
Yeah.
And so Tim says, we love each other and there is nothing you can do about it.
Why? What was I made for? What was I like, Cozzy?
The
Die,
irony...
die for a man? Why? That's what it is. Sorry.
Jackie Weaver.
Add Cozzy to the list.
She's done all right for herself, Jackie. There's a bit of irony, I think, in Jeffrey Rush saying effeminate monkeys don't get work. Not that I'm saying he's not straight, but he's not the most masculine of leading men, Jeffrey Rush.
Has he ever played in... Oh. Yeah. No.
Like, you know,
He's not a leading man.
No.
Macho man.
Yes.
And not like Village People macho man, like a macho man.
A macho man.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for a bit of Village People announcement coming soon on Rainbow Popcorn. But that is also a very common thing. Effeminate monkeys don't get work. That is a very... If you want to be a leading man, you have to be Mel Gibson.
Yep.
You can't be a little bit queer.
Like Mel Gibson. He's not. I'm talking about Tom Cruise.
But then also, John very clearly says to Tim, "You're more than your sexuality." Which for Tim was a big thing of like being that and pushing that and fighting as that and for that.
Yeah. Like I said, some of the dialogue is then the 10-minute mystery movie about who gave who AIDS, which I really didn't like. And I'm not sure how wanting to be the next Mel Gibson aged. Not sure how well that aged.
At the time, great.
Mid-80s.
But the irony then...
Early 80s.
Is they got beaten at the actors by Mad Max. Which was Tom Hardy, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it is Mel Gibson.
Yep.
Out of... I'm just giving it a straight up the middle 3.25 for dialogue.
I was going to give it a...
It wasn't too heavy.
3.5. I got it. I'll give it a 4.
It wasn't too heavy for me. It did what it needed to do. There were some funny bits. There were some serious bits. I think the combination of dialogue and presentation is what made me cry.
I think...
Oh, that was my segue.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
Because there's the other bit about he's scared that he's going to lose his mind.
Yeah.
And then he remembers everything. But then it starts with him running through Italy going, hey...
Trying to ask Sarah Snork.
Where was he sitting?
Yeah.
And she's like, fuck off. My husband owns Fox News now. Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh, not Fox News.
Oh.
It's not Fox News.
Spoiler.
Why would I say that? There is absolutely no parallels.
I cried.
Did that part make you cry?
When they got home from the hospital.
I cried when he died.
I cried when he died. When he said to him, "I'm not ready for you to go."
Yeah.
I cried at those moments. A couple of questions. Oh, no, one question. When they're draining his lung,
Yeah.
why is Tim in the operating theatre?
Don't know.
Are they just like, well, you already got it.
Are you the boyfriend? Yeah, I don't know.
You already got it. Don't worry about wearing gloves.
Yeah. What's he going to get more sick?
But, like...
Yeah,
No.
It was interesting. Anyway.
Unnecessary.
All
right, entirety. It's a very well put together movie. I liked that as well as being a queer story, it was just a very intimate love story.
Yes.
That ticked all of the gay boxes, the prejudice, the acceptance, the conflict, the scene, and the AIDS.
Yeah, I think that the intimacy is then also made good by it still just being like a small movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not trying to be a huge epic movie. It's just like, let's just shoot this on a camera, tell this story with a few people.
And I've talked, and if you go back enough into the archives, you know that I love when it is just a movie that is just a drama.
Yeah.
And they just shoot people in rooms saying shit.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
I think
that's what makes it so much more impactful.
Yeah, and I think they have good chemistry, which they would have to, for the movie to be able to work, because
Yeah.
ultimately, if you don't care for them, you're just going to be like, well, he died, whatever.
And even if you care for them individually, if you don't care for them as a couple, the impact of the death is Tim losing John after he's taken 15 years to acknowledge that he just wants to be with this man.
Yeah.
And it takes the diagnosis for him to be like, fuck, I do just want this man.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm going to give it a 4.
I am going to give it a 4 as well. And I think that the bit I didn't like...
Okay.
Jumping around a bit.
Yeah. Are you linear or are you
90s,
jumping back and
90s,
forth?
70s to late 70s, jump to the 90s, back to the early 80s, to through to this, to bang.
Yep.
Right. It wasn't...
I feel like there was 2 choices. You either start with the phone call in Italy and end with the phone call in Italy, but in between is linear, or you go now, back, now, back, now, back.
Yeah.
Or like now, 60s, now, 70s,
Yeah.
now, 80s, now.
Well, could it have been if he's in Italy writing his memoir,
Yes.
which the movie is based on? Is it going, and then flashback to him in Italy going, I remember the autumn of 1977 where we fucked for the first time, flashback.
Yeah, but that's very, quotes, common
Yeah.
way of telling a memoir kind of story.
I do like that it was, it was start with a phone call, go back. It did jump a bit, but then I liked that it ended with her saying like,
Oh, I forgot. I
note.
had a whole hour and a half of suspense of what does that note say?
yeah.
No, unnecessary.
But I liked that
It
tied
did
it back
come
in.
back, but
But I just don't see how the movie was made better by it jumping rather than just doing the phone call back all the way through.
I think some storytellers do that because it's like this thing happened in 1979, right? He decides he wants to have a threesome in 1979 because of something that happened to him while he was in high school in 1971.
Yeah.
Right, but that wasn't the case with this movie.
No. And I think as well, the thing, so they build up, they meet, they're in love, yay, parents find out,
Yep.
jump ahead.
Yeah, no.
So as soon
time
as there
to
was
sit.
some sort of conflict, they then jump ahead to AIDS.
No time to sit with that revelation.
What happened there?
Yep.
And also, the last thing I'll say is John looks very awkward when he runs, and it's unfortunate because he runs a lot.
I also think the director's never played footy in his life because I've watched a lot of footy and I've never seen someone run as far to get a ball as any of John's runs. Like he's run the full centre square.
Yeah, but
Just because there's
you're
a loose
watching a
ball.
team that can kick to their own team. I am not.
No, I'm watching the Bulldogs.
Anyway. So yeah, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Overall,
And how good's Sarah Snook? And I was going through, I'm like, Blue Heelers, Blue Heelers, Blue Heelers. A few people from Blue Heelers.
Sarah Snook I saw in this horror movie.
Yeah, the new one?
Not the Babadook.
The newish one?
It's, relatively new. It's called Succession. No, Run
Yes.
Rabbit Run.
Yes.
Pretty good. She's very good in it.
Yeah, you talked about that
Yeah.
before.
So, score. Out of a possible 50,
Yep.
38.25,
Oh, no.
which is good.
Is that like top 3?
It's 3.
Really?
Yeah. Love Simon, 39.5.
Wow.
Birdcage, 38.5. Holding the Man, 38.25. And then Disclosure and Moonlight on 37.75.
You know what? I'm okay with that because I feel that Birdcage and Love, Simon are better movies.
Yeah. And Disclosure, we mentioned last week on our top 5 Cameron Diaz movies when we said we should cancel Ace Ventura
Yes.
because of transphobia
Yeah.
within Ace Ventura. So that's it. We're not going to tell you what we're doing next month for Rainbow Popcorn.
Because we don't know. No.
because we're going to do a bit of. There's a little bit more behind the scenes planning to do for our August episode, and then. September, there's a big announcement coming about September. So make sure you follow us on the socials at 2 out of 3 Brothers or join the 2 Drink Cinema Facebook group. Make sure you've subscribed to this podcast so that you know what is coming next, even though right now we're not telling you what is coming next.
Yeah.
What we can tell you is what is coming next for 2 Drink Cinema.
Yes.
And that is 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, because we just saw one.
Yeah, we just saw one gay funeral and now we're going to see another.
Yeah. There was a wedding in that movie as well.
Yes. Was there?
Yeah, well, his sister got married.
Oh, his sister did get married.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are 3 more weddings
And
in 4 weddings and a funeral.
Same amount of funerals.
Same amount of funerals.
Yep.
So 38.25 out of 50 for Holding the Man.
That's a very good score.
It is a good score. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Lee.